Hey. Guys, welcome to my channel. This is a story of what if Sasuke regrets his decisions and want to make atonement for his sin. Don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel, it will surely help me, and also it will notify you on my upcoming videos, and check the description for the creator of this great fanfic. Thank you. Now let's start the story. Chapter 13. Ninjas. The terror of being a ninja. Konohagakure Stadium. The team of Kakashi was disinterested in watching the exams. Neji was almost crushed to death by Gaara. If Guy hadn't interfered, Naruto's futon cage Bunshin kicked Shikamaru in the butt to drive him to the fight against Temari. Kankuro forfeited against Shino, then the sound team didn't appear. Sasuke sighed in dismay as he was prepared to kill Kabuto and anyone else who would try to harm Naruto. The more he thought, the more his bloodlust didn't subside but rose exponentially. He also remembered how in the Chunin exam Neji destroyed Hinata, and he smirked at the irony. He can take Gaara down in any day. Then he heard the signal. Karen dispelled the genjutsu, and Naruto's chakra was disrupted by Kurama. Jugo was phased until his senjutsu chakra disrupted his chakra. Suigetsu was able to dispel it immediately, that observant Hozoki. As an Oto Nin tried to attack Naruto, Sasuke immediately used his Gokaku to burn him. He looked at the blonde who nodded. He took Jiraiya's sealing tag and immediately sealed Gaara and knocked him out, while Naruto knocked his two siblings out. The Uchiha then appeared with his captives as Naruto escorted the civilians and other dignitaries to the shelters by her cage Bunshins, and he was at her side. Any Oto Nin was fair game. Suigetsu unsealed the Kubikiribocho and started mowing down the Oto Nin who tried to attack or capture him, Sasuke, Jugo or kill Karen. His sword was slowly but surely reforming. The iron in the enemy's blood was absorbed by the sword. The more he cut down, the bigger the sword was becoming. Jugo was upon the few Kumo Nins who tried to kidnap the unconscious and sick Hinata. The berserker immediately turned his two arms into a giant fist and punched them before he added a few chakra boosters and blew them away. Another attacked him and his arm, now an axe, cut them. The last one was attacking him with his annoying Ranten jutsu, so he turned his left arm into a giant fist, grabbed him, and slammed him with enough force to break a few bones. Then he turned his arm into a piston that he fired, crushing all of his ribs. Kakashi and Guy had a competition of who kills more Oto Nin. Sasuke then saw Baki and Kabuto together. He smirked evilly. Kaden. Ryuan Huka no Jutsu. Sasuke spat 5 dragon head-shaped fireballs that grew in size. Kabuto was able to dodge, but Baki was hit by one of these dragons in his left arm. However, Sasuke's plan was for Kabuto to be in the air, forming a purple crossbow of his left arm that its string was pulled by a purple chakra arm. He made an Enten arrow. Said Enten arrow hit Kabuto in the abdomen. Enten. Hanoikazuki. Sasuke intoned as the arrow exploded outwardly, burning Kabuto from the inside out with hellfire. Then Sasuke smiled cruelly. This felt too good. He then decided that better them than him. He turned toward the ones who were attacking Naruto and was amazed as she used a futon Shinkugyaku on them. Then she froze. However, some others were now attacking her. Sasuke threw 10 shurikens that had some ninja wire on them to ensnare them. As soon as it did, he flew through 4 handseals, Kaden, Ruka. And a white-hot stream of fire burned them alive. He then shunshined at her side. Naruto, don't falter. This is not the time, he said as he slashed a Suna ninja with his lightning-covered Wakizaki. But Sasuke Iki. She started before he yelled. Chunin Uzumaki Naruto. Pull yourself together. This is not the time, he said before he pulled her down, dodging another Oto shinobi before he threw a Raiden-covered kunai at his skull. I don't want to lose you. Do you want me to die? As his words left his mouth, they were like a bucket of gasoline on a dying fire. Her eyes lit up with a searing hot flames as she nodded at him. Her eyes were now cold and focused. Sasuke smirked at the change. Now the beast had awakened. Let's do it, he said as he flew through handseals, Kaden, Bakufu Ranbo. He unleashed a vortex of flames that surrounded a few Suna Nins. Suiten. Kurigakure no Jutsu. Suigetsu intoned as he used his silent killing after so long. The Hozoki smirked in satisfaction. His Kubikiribocho was now fully formed, which it meant. How about a game of who kills most? The Hozoki let his psychotic inner self claim him. I'm in. Kakashi replied. Yosh, let's show them our flames of youth. Guy added. Then Naruto dropped down on her knees, her clones had dispelled, and almost en masse. As an Oto Nin was about to attack her, Sasuke used his Chidori Iso to pierce him multiple times. Not satisfied by that, he burned him with his Amaterasu. Naruto looked at him in worry and started to wipe the blood that was dripping from his left eye. Sasuke-kun, your eye. She warned as he grabbed her hand gently and shook his head. Don't worry about it a lot. It doesn't really hurt. I'll explain later, I swear it. He said as he kissed her hand. Let's focus on kicking their asses. Naruto then pulled him down before she used the ram seal. Futon. Atsugai. She intoned as her compressed tornado unleashed, blowing away many ninjas at the same time. He smirked at her. Then Suigetsu joined and pushed Sasuke into a squat as two ninjas attacked him with their swords. The Hozoki liquefied his body, letting said blades pass him harmlessly, before Sasuke shot himself upward and Suigetsu pointed a finger gun at each of their attackers before he smirked. Mizutepo. Nichu. He then shot 2 drops of water at their heads, making said heads explode. Nice, Suigetsu ni. Naruto said as her futon, Fusa Kongo was now guarding them. Karen was also using her chakra chains to defend herself and Hinata before she jumped close to Kakashi. Naruto soon joined. Sasuke however noticed some pattern. Most of Otogakur shinobi were attacking him of all people. Time to do plan B. Sasuke announced. Naruto was about to object. Naruto. Stay with Kakashi and Guy and back them up. Suigetsu, Jugo, let's go. Sasuke told his 2 friends who nodded both. If you won't come back, that threat will happen. She replied as he nodded before Kakashi and Guy were left with a royally pissed off Uzumaki. With Sasuke, Jugo and Suigetsu Sasuke smirked evilly as he unleashed another wave of Enten. Suigetsu was slashing at everyone who was from the sand or the sound, and Jugo unleashed his berserker side, fully transformed into his Senin Henka. In short, 3 demons from hell were unleashed upon every poor unfortunate souls that were on the other side. Then Sasuke completely lost it as he now was cackling and laughing madly at each and every soul he took. It was like a tornado of death unleashed upon poor unfortunate damned souls. Blood flew everywhere, bodies were dropping, the carnage was something else. Sasuke countered each and every attack until he was attacked by a skilled Suna Jonin. Said Jonin used his wind chakra to cut Sasuke's sword, and would have cut the Uchiha if it hadn't been for Suigetsu slashing his legs. Jugo then crushed his body. Sasuke then used a vortex. Guys, get out of here. Now. He growled. Sasuke, we were barely able to. Suigetsu replied as his friend shot him a cold glare. Get out of here. Hurry. Sasuke said as he grabbed them both and threw them at the vortex which it closed. He had one shot at this. So the great Uchiha falls down. An Oto Nin mocked only for Sasuke to glare at him before he burned him with his Amaterasu. No more holding back, he said as he wore a Tenguesque armor with 2 wings. Now the real terror start. His killing intent washed over them like a wave of darkness. Now it was his turn to prove himself. Back with the stadium, Jugo and Suigetsu quickly turned only to find that Sasuke was no longer there. His vortex was closed. God damn it. Jugo swore as Suigetsu tisked in annoyance. He prayed THST the Uchiha's plan Z will work out. Then they unleashed their frustration on the remaining sound and sand ninjas with a new fervor. Suigetsu, Jugo, where is Sasuke? Karen asked as they both sighed. He pushed us here, literally. Can you locate him? Suigetsu asked as he used his now gigantic arm to crush another Oto Nin. He's. Oh shit. His chakra is terrifying. Karen replied as cold sweat appeared on her face. What happened to my Sasuke? Naruto barked as she crushed another Suna Nin with her kanabo. He insisted on fighting alone. Suigetsu replied as he cut another Oto Nin. Who knows what he's hiding? Does it matter? She replied as she unleashed another Futon Kazakiri. Maybe he's holding back so he doesn't harm us. Jugo asked as Suigetsu sighed. He'd better come back without a scratch or I'm gonna make him regret doing that. Naruto unleashed a Futon Fusa Kongo. That's the last of them. Karen yelled. I feel a sinister chakra coming. Yo, missed me. Sasuke asked as he appeared from a vortex. Hey, the Anbu and Jonins will take it from here. He panted hardly. Yaro. I was worried sick. Sasuke, what's with that blood? Naruto asked her boyfriend worriedly as she saw him covered in blood. Hey, none is mine. He replied. I had to do it quickly. I saw your Bunshins dispelling, and I came back. Look over there. Karen yelled as she pointed out at the barrier over the stadium. Yosh, I'll try to break it. I have one shot at this. Sasuke-kun, take care of me afterwards, will ya? Naruto asked her teammate who smirked at her knowingly. Of course he would. The entire team watched in awe as Naruto covered her Kanabo with wind chakra. She made it extremely compressed, like it was a sharp swirling tornado over most of the weapon before she spun the deadly mace and threw it at the barrier. They watched with awe and anticipation as it impacted the barrier. However, it did nothing to it, despite the giant explosion. And the Kanabo was now completely shattered. Damn. I need a new weapon now. Naruto said as Sasuke sighed. Then the barrier was dropped and 4 Sounds Ninja were escaping with their master in tow. Then they heard the horn that signaled. It's over. Kakashi announced. The entire team rushed, Jugo carrying Sasuke, Karen carrying Naruto and Suigetsu by himself. They had to see the results. Sasuke and Naruto were now completely exhausted from overusing their strongest jutsus. However, as everyone assembled there, they had a grim look on their faces. The old and wise Sarutobi Hiruzen, the Sandaime Hokage and the Shinobi no Kami had fallen in battle. Sasuke had a cold, hate-filled look as he saw Naruto's tear of sorrow and disbelief. You'll pay for this, Orochimaru. Sasuke growled like a livid lion. Kakashi gave him a sad look as the entire team assembled with the rest of the rookies. So, now what? Shikamaru asked only for Sasuke to reply. A nap would surely be a good thing. The Uchiha replied as he now put Naruto down on her butt gently before he sat at her side. The 2 Uzumakis were at each other's side, Suigetsu was at Karen's and Jugo's side, Hinata was at Jugo's side. They all dozed off. Naruto sleeping on Sasuke's shoulder, Sasuke's head on top of hers, Karen and Suigetsu doing the same, Hinata's head was on Jugo's chest while the giant's head was lowered. Shikamaru and Shino observed while Kakashi took a picture and put his finger on his lips on a shushing motion. Despite the great loss, they did everything. They might not have realized it, but they're some of our truest comrades when push came to shove. Kakashi explained as the 2 genins then went to also take a nap. Shino and Shikamaru might have earned their promotion it seems. With them out of the way, Kakashi and Guy nodded at each other. After betraying Konoha, Suna will pay in blood. Now they join the backup, and surrender is not an option any longer. 3 hours later, the entire team woke up sans Hinata. Shino offered to take her home only for Naruto to carry her best friend like she weighed nothing. Sasuke smirked at his girlfriend's strength. Then the entire team carried her halfway home until one Hyuga Ko made the mistake of insulting Naruto. You little scoundrel. Unhand Hinata-sama this moment. His tone made Sasuke's lightning-covered hand and Mangekyo blaze into existence before Jugo was upon him and using his newly gigantic arm, he crushed the man against a wall with an open palm slap. You rotten punk. Jugo roared as he almost crushed the older man. Where the fuck you were when she was kidnapped, huh? He was about to do more only for Sasuke to turn to him. Jugo. Stop. This won't do us any good. Sasuke replied as the berserker sighed. Fine by him. This was a whim. Next time your clan disrespect my Kanojo girlfriend in any shape or form. The Hyuga will follow the Uchiha in death. Naruto was shocked by this. Was Sasuke this protective of her? Sasuke-san. Please. Stop. Hinata's plead made the Uchiha spat at the ground in frustration. Look at her. She's the kindest one in your entire clan, she's better than all of you cold-hearted arrogant bastards. Sasuke snapped. I admit. Kindness is something I do respect more than anything else. Oi Sasuke, stop being this worked out. Let's get her home and bail already. Suigetsu replied as the Uchiha sighed. We need a drink. He replied as Naruto's eyes widened. Oi Tem, aren't we underaged? What would they think of us a few preteens and a teen drinking at a bar? Naruto asked only for Kakashi to arrive. Nothing. You're all grown up, and technically, you're all adults. Matter of fact, you can do whatever you want as adults. He told them and Naruto was now thinking loudly. So that means, maybe a few drinks. Nah, I have no idea. But it made sense when we bought that Ika books. Kaka-sensei wasn't with us. Sasuke smirked. She just proved him right. Hey, I guess that crazy is the word for those who talk to themselves. Then again, it's a good thing. Any sane girl is not even interesting. Sasuke replied. Hey, I'm not crazy or anything. You know. Also, you play shogi with yourself. She replied as he blushed. Oi, I was planning something. The best way to plan is to think like the other side. Sasuke replied as he sighed. Hey, I guess that makes you. You. She replied. I don't know. I mean that side of you is obnoxious. Hey, and that side of you is adorable. He replied mischievously. Shut it, ya handsome lovable tem of mine. She hissed at him and he laughed mirthlessly. I guess that we need to drop Hinata then. Kakashi, can you go with us or fetch Jiraiya? Sasuke asked his sensei who sighed. Fine fine, Sasuke Taicho. Kakashi replied as he made a kage bunshin that went to fetch the old sage. Later on, look at you, Jugo, earning a kiss from Hinata. Suigetsu smirked. Then again, they have a high standard. I saved her. Jugo clarified as Karen smirked at him. You two are perfect match, you know. Your kind sweet side is a really good friend. Don't you think, Naruko-chan? Naruko-chan. The blonde was awfully quiet, deep in her own thoughts. She realized that she killed at least 100 person, she was just moving on instinct, but then the clone's memory hit her, and she felt like monster. The words of the villagers soon rang in her ears many times. She unconsciously cried, not hearing anything, nor noticing the concerned looks of her teammates or her boyfriend. Said boyfriend waited for her to do anything for a solid minute, then, he decided to just act. Naruko was pulled from her thoughts by a warm embrace of one Uchiha Sasuke, who, noticing her inner turmoil, hugged her. She gave him a pair of sad, guilt-ridden blue eyes, and he gave her a pair of black compassionate and warm orbs. Sasuke-kun, you better break up with me. Naruko replied, shocking the Uchiha who gave her a pair of sad, betrayed and heartbroken orbs. Naruko-chan. Why? Sasuke asked as he was on the verge of tears. What did I do now? If it was because of the bad jokes and teasing it have nothing to do with you, Sasuke-kun. It is me. I mean, I am a monster. I killed more than 100 ninjas, me and my clones. Please, break up with someone like me, and find a good girl that can be a good wife. She replied before she muttered, they were right. I am a monster after all. Oi, I killed 200 plus. Suigetsu yelled at her. Does that make me a fucking monster? Huh. No, stop this bullshit, Naruko. Naruko, it is a shinobi duty to defend people. I killed 50 plus without clones. Jugo replied. Come on Emoto, this is a reason why you want Sasuke to break up with you. Karen asked. He knows all of your secrets, and yet he accepted you. He doesn't seem the type who change his loyalty on a whim. Hey, that makes me more than 5 times the monster you are then, Naruko. Sasuke replied. Look, if it is something personal, like I dunno, me harming you, then yeah. But I will kill any motherfucker who thinks he can become your boyfriend. I killed so far more than 500 ninjas. I remember how they died, and honestly, they reaped what they sow. These sick fucks would have killed the defenseless. Is their lives worth more than an infant they'd kill? An elderly with a family? A pregnant woman? Huh. But Sasuke, I killed them in some of the most gruesome ways possible. You're too kind for me. I don't even feel anything. Naruko replied desperately and Sasuke laughed. Oh, this is because of that brainwashing thing they did then. Fuck them all. I would have not hesitated to make list of everyone who mistreated you, and killed their family and friends in front of them. Sasuke replied as his Sharingan activated, showing his bloodlust. Naruko, you're a unique, crazy, misfeeing and terrifyingly attractive bewitching girl that made me forget all of my rage, my pain, my despair. My sorrow. You have no idea what I felt. I don't think that I can live without you. Sasuke then turned away. He would have started crying once that nightmare of her death would hit him again. Karen, Jugo and Suigetsu gave her a meaningful look and backed away. It was entirely up to her. She stood there thinking. Sasuke have killed more than her. More than anyone else probably, yet he was so kind, so nice to her, never pushing her like anyone else would. She decided finally to do what her heart told her. She hugged him from behind. The contract was enough to break him out of his dark thoughts and he almost melted on her embrace. I'm sorry about what I said, Sasuke-kun. She apologized sincerely. The Uchiha smiled as he turned toward her. Don't let me go. Never. Let's consider that never happened. He replied warmly. Suigetsu and Karen smirked at the sight while Jugo smiled. Let's go home. Our home. The Uchiha announced as the team gave him a surprised look. They were moving out. Now. What do you mean, Sasuke-kun? Naruto asked her boyfriend who sighed. Oi, are we moving out? Her look made him debate with himself. Not yet. He answered. She smiled at him brightly. He shook his head at her before he lifted her on his back, in a piggyback walk. Hey, you like that apartment? You bet I do. I got my most precious person there, I got an amazing friend, teammate and boyfriend, if he stopped being a bastard sometimes. Say, why are you trying to provoke me? Naruto finally decided to ask her boyfriend who smirked. She started to mature, finally. Let's just say that I love the Soon side of you as much as the deer. He smirked as he turned and her mouth was pouting, her eyebrows were lopsided in confusion. Hey, anything from you is welcome. Nay, Sasuke, you're very talkative with me usually, you know. Naruto asked the Uchiha who nodded. Why is that? Anything we share is a precious memory. I don't know. He then stopped talking as the entire team followed him to a bar. Hey, taking us to a bar. Do you think that it is a good idea, Sasuke? I mean we're a bunch of ex-Oto and Kusa-nins who helped out. Suigetsu asked his friend who gave him a deadpan look. Fine. Let's hope you don't snap. Let's pray neither of us does. Karen replied as she pointed at the two men who were waiting for them. I don't know about the others' reaction, but better here than anywhere else. And they walked in a calm pace, with Sasuke carrying Naruto on his back much to his delight and her embarrassed blushing, the others were just thinking about what happened. Yo, lovebirds, over here. Kakashi whispered as Sasuke shot him a livid stare. Kakashi paled as he remembered what the Uchiha warned him about. I think that Ika innocence will come next. Thanks to your two students, Kakashi. Jiraiya said mirthfully. Use us in your book in any way, shape or form without our permission. You're going to wish that Itachi, Kisame and even Kakuzu had put their hands on you. Sasuke warned as Jiraiya narrowed his eyes. Oh, and Orochimaru is a worm. But Orochimaru is. Jiraiya started only for Kakashi to stop him. A plague unleashed on the world. A carrion of a man. A snake who toys with lives, Kakashi replied angrily. His rage was apparent to the point where Naruto, Karen and Suigetsu were trembling at the level of Kakashi's bloodthirst and killing intent. Oi, Kakashi. Stop. Sasuke warned his sensei. Look, I can take that snake down if I want to. But yeah. Oi, Kakashi, does this brat know what he's talking about? Jiraiya asked Kakashi only for Naruto to glare at her godfather. I know Sasuke-kun better than anyone. You know, when he says something, it's probably gonna happen. She replied with conviction, proof by her now lit eyes. So let me ask you, how strong would he be? I'd say a chunin. Jiraiya asked and Naruto laughed, Suigetsu chuckled, Jugo shook his head, Karen palmed her face and Kakashi sighed. What? I mean he's just 12, no. Almost 13. But let me ask you, how strong was Itachi and Madara at that age? The masked man. He was someone mocked as a failure, and he was able to almost destroy Konoha, and he was a 14-years-old Uchiha. Sasuke smirked as he showed his Mangekyo, and judging by the black tomo in the flower-shaped eye. No Mangekyo. Kuzo, do you have the Rinnegan? Jiraiya asked in shock as Sasuke and Kakashi both flinched. Look, if you want me to train. No. Do not train me. Sasuke barked in outrage. Look, that girl you abandoned for 12 years, to the point where she was saved by someone like me, speaks volumes of your irresponsibility. I don't want to be trained by you. Sanin or not, it doesn't mean shit to my kind. Sasuke replied as he clenched his fists hard enough to crush stones. Naruto, I'm sorry. Jiraiya apologized, I had to take care of the village's spy network. But I will make it up to you. How about I teach you something cool? Which is? Naruto asked in glee. Suigetsu looked at Karen who shook her head. A jutsu the Yondaime was famous for. Jiraiya asked and Kakashi smirked behind his mask. You know the Hiraishin, Jiraiya-sensei. Naruto asked as the sage was shocked. No, I was talking about the Rasengan. He started and Sasuke had enough. The Uchiha slammed his hammer-like fist on the table, breaking it in two. Then you will waste her life on a futile training trip for 2.5 years, where you just work on her, basics, with minimal guidance and hints, if any at all, like, just improve the Rasengan, and something like that, all while you write smut and spy on woman and get drunk as a skunk, am I wrong? Sasuke ranted at Jiraiya where Naruto gave him a betrayed look. Look, I'm not going to waste her life away. I will make sure she realizes her dream, and if anyone stand in my way of helping these people reach their full potential, I will murder each and every one they care about before tearing everything that matters to them. The terrifying, colder than death itself presence was now back. Sasuke Uchiha became definitely the scariest being on earth. Kid, go home, you're drunk. Jiraiya replied calmly as Sasuke panted, his rage will definitely. Then Naruto put her arm around his waist, and like magic, he calmed down. It's okay, Sasuke-kun, I won't leave you. She replied as the Uchiha smirked. Kakashi I smiled as Jiraiya shook his head. Look, I think I got on the wrong foot with you too, and I humbly apologize. Now, let's talk about your training. Jiraiya asked, and like he flipped a switch, the entire team had their interest shining on their eyes. I think that Naruto is a Fuinjutsu and Senjutsu beast. Also, she have 3 changes in chakra natures and something else. Jiraiya looked at him, Haijutsu and Kekkei Genkai. You dated my Mezume for her abilities, Jiraiya asked Sasuke who now glared at him coldly. I decided to court her before I even know about her abilities. I didn't date the Kunoichi only, I dated the sweet, kind, compassionate and diamond-willed girl called Naruto. Sasuke explained. I love everything about her. I mean it everything. He replied dead seriously. Jiraiya smiled at him jovially. So, does she loves you as much as you do? He replied as she sighed guiltily. I can't. And he should probably look for someone who does, but he said that he doesn't want anyone else. And he was entirely truthful. She replied guiltily. Naruto-chan, didn't I tell you? Your love and respect are good enough for me. Sasuke smiled warmly. Something that made his entire team smile. This Uchiha might not believe in the will of fire probably, and for some really good reasons, but he was definitely a hero. Nay, Sasuke-kun, what's your end goal? Naruto asked the Uchiha who sighed dejectedly. For now getting much stronger. Then for later, getting enough influence, and finally, make this world peaceful. The more I think about it, Madara Gigi wrote a journal about his thoughts. It was said that the bearer of the Mangekyo can see better than most, and that the bearer of the Rinnegan is someone who's chosen by the heaven itself to end the strifes. I call it bullshit. Sasuke replied. Shodai and Madara united and made the village to protect children from needless slaughter. But let me ask you two who knows war, what happened later? The second war was hell. Adults and teenagers were sent to their deaths. I remember a certain kid dying in an explosion. Jiraiya replied, war orphans were a common sight. I trained 3 of these. Then I heard they died. Jiraiya replied with a forlorn expression etched on his face. Many genins and young chunins at 13 or less died. It was hell on earth. Kakashi replied. Is that a world where I want any child to be in it? It's so fucked up. I saw slaughtered women and children, some of these less than 5, all because they had a Kekkei Genkai. Suigetsu replied grimly. He remembered how the rebels killed his older brother because in their eyes, he was a collaborator. I didn't interfere in Kurigakure. Sasuke confessed to Suigetsu. I had a target there, let them kill each other for all I care. Mangetsu will be avenged that way. Hey, never thought that you would be this thoughtful, but did you kill any Jinchuriki? Suigetsu asked Sasuke and Kakashi sighed. Hey, Naruto, I think that you must calm down. In our way to Kurigakure, 2 of Iwa's best were Jinchuriki, and attacked me and Sasuke out of grudge to the Yondaime. We had no choice honestly. Sasuke put them under a genjutsu while I killed them. I'm sorry about that, but we had no other choice nor option. If they came for you. I understand, Kaka-sensei, but it hurts me that Iwa would hold a grudge for something so stupid. Naruto replied sadly. While it hurt her that a fellow Jinchuriki dies, it was better than her mentor and her boyfriend dying, 1,000 times better. Well, do you know why the other nations started the 3 wars? Sasuke asked Jiraiya who sighed. Greed, grudges, hate. It's a vicious cycle. Jiraiya replied as Naruto was thinking about breaking said cycle. So, how do we break it? Naruto asked only for Sasuke to look at Jiraiya funnily. Was Ibiki kind to the Kazekage children? Sasuke asked and Jiraiya nodded. Why did they betray us? Well, you see, the Cage had no choice. The Wind Daimyo was the reason, as he sent missions to Konoha more than their own hidden village. Jiraiya's reply made Kakashi palm his face at a memory. I remember now. Toussaint's mission was to assassinate the daimyo of Tsuchi no Kuni, but he chose the life of his comrade over the mission, then everyone in the village turned on him. Kakashi's eye teared. So, why there's no wedding between cages? I mean, there's no ninja law that prevents so. Karen asked Kakashi, who sighed. Because the daimyos and the politicians would never allow it. Kakashi's reply made Naruto's eye widen. Was that what the Hokage dealt with on daily basis? Hey, politics is a dirty business, even coming from killers like us. We're not saints, and the cages are not some sort of angel nor fake god, but even us are humane by comparison. Suigetsu commented. So to become a Hokage one must be a politician first. Naruto asked as Sasuke nodded grimly. I think that Sandaime Gigi didn't tell me everything, for your own good. Look, I don't think that you're ready yet for the entire truth. Sasuke replied as Kakashi's eye widened in terror. What's your terms to be Hokage? Being myself. Naruto asked and Jiraiya snorted. The daimyos would do anything in their power to prevent you. The old sage said grimly. Let these fuckers try taking her from me again. I swear I will kill each and every one related to them, sparing no bastard, no fucktard, no shithead, no lapdog of theirs. Sasuke replied as his powerful, sinister chakra was released. I will not allow her to die, no matter what. Sasuke-kun. Naruto whispered. Her boyfriend was something else, definitely. I will not die before that. I will explain everything, and I mean everything. Once I become stronger, I have to be stronger than any Hokage if I want to protect you. Sasuke replied with a forlorn expression, even run on sight won't be enough for me, but maybe for you. Sasuke looked at his girlfriend expectingly. Huh? She asked questionably. You have an amazing potential that probably no one can get out. He smirked. Challenge accepted. She asked in total confusion. I'm always here, Sasuke. Kakashi replied. But I know that I need to improve. So far, the only two things that I couldn't pick up are Senjutsu. Your Fuinjutsu level is about what? Jiraiya asked Kakashi and the Hitaki sighed. 4. I can do B rank Fuinjutsu, but it requires my own blood. At this, Naruto gave him a surprised look. The Uzumaki clan used to do it with or without hand seals. They were so good in that, they were wiped out. So that's why Naruto-chan is here and my mom went to Kusa. Karen asked. Is there anyone else? I remember that one of the kids I trained, Nagato, had fiery red hair. Also, Jugo was it. Jiraiya asked as the tallest guy apart from him and Kakashi nodded. Does the name Yahiko ring any bells? Yahiko. Well, my dad once told me that his cousin had a son without my clan's Kekkei Genkei, called that name. Do you know what happened to him? Jugo asked only for Sasuke to give him a sad look, before he turned to Karen and Naruto. You gotta be kidding me. You mean that we have some dead long-lost relatives? What kind of shitty luck do we have? The red-haired asked as Suigetsu smirked. There were an astronomical low odd we all meet each other. I mean an Uzumaki girl with a long-lost Kekkei Genkei, a Hozoki related to the Nadaime Mizukage, an Uchiha related to Madara, a pure-blooded Uzumaki, and a berserker like Jugo. Whose training calmed him down? Hey, Team Awesome was founded. Suigetsu then was tapped gently by Naruto. You stole the last part from me, Suigetsu. But yeah, we're Team Awesomeness, and don't forget Kaka-sensei who needs to surpass his father, and Hina-chan, the first Hyuga to break all traditions. Naruto squealed in excitement. Hey, Hinata might fit in. Karen replied. I gathered some information on her, meek, kind, a bit too shy, trains a lot, dead mother, shitty cousin, arrogant little sister, negligent idiot of a father. Naruto yelled as her eyes widened and her mouth gaped. Sasuke laughed at her shocked expression. How did you know everything? It was all true, Karen nay. Ino is an amazing information source, her gossip queen reputation is well earned. I think that we can get along later on. Karen replied. I got to pay for the table. No. Jiraiya will pay, unless he wants me to, I dunno. Maybe kill him in a very gruesome, not friendly to even the hardest of heart way. Sasuke asked as Jiraiya nodded dumbly. Oh, and if you spend a single ryo from Naruto-chan's account, I will make you beg for death. Senjutsu chakra or not. Sheesh. What a yandere you have, Kakashi. Is he always this devoted to her? Jiraiya asked Kakashi, who nodded dumbly. He didn't even want to try, since Sasuke was, well, less human than a beast sometimes. Hehe, yandere-kun is definitely the best thing ever. For me at least. Naruto exclaimed in happiness. Hey, only you, Tsunere-chan. Only you. Oh, and Jiraiya, I will be accompanying you, like it or not. Now then, enjoy your drinks until I come back. Sasuke smirked as he stood up and jumped out of the booth. Oi, Sasuke-kun, can I come with you? Naruto asked, only for the Uchiha to sigh. No. I will not take much time, Naruto-chan. You see, I need to get something very personal to me. Please, it's not for lack of trust. It's just that this is my burden to bear. He replied as he wanted to know for sure if he can return to the Uchiha compound. There were something else he didn't want to tell her, she was too innocent to know. Just wait for me. 1 hour. 1 single hour. He promised before he shunshined away. Naruto, is there something that bothers you? Jiraiya asked his goddaughter, who sighed in sorrow. Yes, Aro Sennin. I killed over 100 ninjas during the invasion, me and my clones. She muttered in a sad tone. I think that I proved the villagers right about me being a monster. She was shocked when she saw Jiraiya seething. Naruto, how was your childhood? I want you to tell me everything. Jiraiya asked the girl, who trembled. Even Suigetsu was shocked by this. What the hell happened to her? I can't answer you, Naruto, you don't have to bear that burden alone. Kakashi replied in a sad, compassionate tone, and she gave him a grateful smile. We need to talk about it away. Fine. Cage Bunshins then. And the 2 elite ninjas made a shadow clone each. Said shadow clones went outside somewhere else, more private. Okay, about those guys, you know. The fake ones. Kakashi asked cryptically, and Suigetsu smirked at him. Sasuke caught them. The Hozoki replied proudly. He's that kind of guys, like what Naruto will end up being sooner or later. A world changer. Hey, I never heard about that. Karen asked as Jiraiya seethed even more. Look, if neither of the Sannin will be the Godime, then they'll probably put Danzo in the office. Knowing Sasuke, he will kill that old bastard. Kakashi told them. Wait, you mean that Danzo who wrote that book about these futon jutsus? He was a genius in that domain, you know. Naruto replied, and Jiraiya palmed his face. This girl will be the death of him. Oh wait, she will be if Sasuke was like the only good quality in him. He was the one who. Jiraiya replied before Kakashi slapped his palm at the Sannin's mouth. Jiraiya-sama, hold your tongue. Kakashi warned before he withdrew his arm. I'm sorry, but it's a classified information. Well, let's just say that I'd rather be the Hokage than letting him do so. Jiraiya replied, and Naruto glared at him. If you peep at any woman, I will ram a tree up your ass and shred your balls. Is THST clear? Naruto warned Jiraiya heatedly. The Toad Sage nodded dumbly at his terrifying mother-like goddaughter. Sheesh, a mini Kushina and a mini Tsunade at the same time. God, we men are doomed. Jiraiya replied as the girl sighed dejectedly. Look, the burden of being a ninja is the amount of kills. Definitely. Kakashi added. Sensei killed by the thousands, Sandaime-sama killed better than any other shinobi. He was the strongest Kage for a reason. He can kill anyone on earth very easily. Naruto, listen, you're a Chunin, you know what that does mean. It means that you're a good enough killer. The whole shinobi rank is based on how good they are street killing. Genins might or might not kill. Chunin have probably killed, and Jonin are all seasoned killers. Jiraiya replied. But let me ask you, would it be better if they have killed some unborn child? A child. A woman who's probably pregnant. An old woman with her family. I don't know, I did not even feel anything until I napped, and I felt like I was a monster. Naruto replied guiltily, I almost broke up my relationship with Sasuke-kun, and then he told me that he killed more than 500 ninjas within the invasion on his own. Suigetsu killed 200, Jugo killed about 50. Karen killed 10 so far. Naruto replied dejectedly. She doubted herself until it hit her. Oh my god. Naruto. Jiraiya asked the now almost crying girl. I let them control me. To the point where I almost lost my most precious person. She replied guiltily, I think that I need to make it up to him. I say, maybe let him do something more than just kissing and holding each other. Kakashi replied and she glared at him. Maybe something still cute teen romance. How am I supposed to know? I read a few crappy romance novels, but nothing much. Naruto replied before she laughed mirthlessly, he helped me in my first period. Suzume kicked me out when it came to these subjects, and she never taught me things like that. And she insisted on leaving a mark about me being an utter tomboy. So what if I don't like girly stuff like flower arrangements and house cleaning? So what if I do like cooking, but nothing else useless in a battlefield? I am a girl, a true kunoichi, I'm no one's porcelain doll. Hey, that's definitely why Sasuke loves you. You're an amazing kunoichi, a very hard-working genius. I admit, I was shocked how you always trained. Kakashi replied as Jiraiya gave him a shocked look. Please wait, I'm definitely going to need a paper and a pen, to note each and every act of transgression against your person. Look, let me get this straight, Kakashi-san, what exactly happened to our dear Emoto? Kakashi sighed at Sujitsu's question only for Jiraiya's eyes to narrow before he unleashed the second most horrible killer intent after one Uchiha Sasuke. Fuck this village. The nuke nin idea seems a good deal now. Jiraiya announced. Hold on. Look, do it for this poor girl, okay. Kakashi pointed at his whiskered student who sighed in relief as the Gamma Sennin stopped and he did something shocking. Jiraiya the sage bowed his head in apology to his goddaughter. Naruto, please forgive me. Jiraiya apologized sincerely as the girl grabbed his forehead and made him rise his lowered head. He looked at her in shame. He left his own goddaughter in hell. You didn't know anything. I forgive you, Aro Kyofo. She replied warmly before she grinned. Besides, Sasuke-kun, my 4 siblings, Kakashi-sensei who's like an older brother, Uruka-sensei. I have enough precious people who would definitely be there for me. Naruto smiled warmly before she grinned. Now I realize exactly what Sasuke meant. You're too kind, sweet, forgiving. God, no wonder he loves you. The real you inside is so pure. Suigetsu practically cried as he realized how good the girl was. You never judged any of us, you accepted Jugo as the kind older brother, you accepted me as your brother, you accepted Karen as a sister and without a second thought. Man, he's so lucky to have you. Naruto, arigato. I think that bad childhood teaches us some kindness. Naruto replied as Jugo nodded sadly. Emoto-chan, I will never allow anyone to use your generosity and kindness. Never. Karen bowed angrily. The hour was spent bonding, and Naruto decided to just have a snack until Sasuke returned. Said Uchiha returned looking like a broken man. Oi, Sasuke-kun, what on earth happened? Why do you look like a dead man walking to Bayo? Naruto asked her boyfriend in worry only for him to sigh and show her 3 journals. One had Uchiha Madara in it. The other was Uchiha Sayuri, the last was Uchiha Fugaku. I made the mistake to read these. Mom's is something for our eyes only. Sasuke replied monotonously. I need a lot of drinks to forget what I saw. Oi, what if Kami forbids, you get an alcohol poisoning? Suigetsu asked and Sasuke sighed forlornly. It was a bleak perspective, what he read should be something undescribable. Thanks for listening. I hope you guys liked it. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a like for more what ifs and support the author. See you guys in the next video.